Good morning, everyone. Hope you guys had a great weekend. And we start the week what I would officially call with a multiple time frame mess. So sometimes they refer to this as a frog in a blender pattern, which potentially it could be. Um, we'll see how this shakes out, of course. Beginning of the day here, as you all know, Friday turned out to be a sell day. And in part, the markets were set up to some extent like they should have went up Friday, at least Friday morning. So looking at the S&Ps here, that bottoming tail bar, and you see there was a lot of reversals on Thursday, which turned out to be what we call a green bar ignored, which is confirmation of a bearish trend or environment in the time frame that you're looking at. So when you get a bullish pattern, not pattern, candle like this, bottoming tail bar, where it took out the lows and rallied back up again, to some extent it's supposed to go up. And I say to some extent because this isn't a bullish pattern. Whereas if this would have occurred, say, with a consolidation up near the top, let me just look over here on the hourly chart. Let's just say that it happened where it was going sideways over here. And then it should have continued to go up, right? Because it had somewhat of a void above. Not the greatest example, but I'm trying to show you what I'm talking about here. Whereas over here, you had this mess overhead. So maybe somewhat what should have happened, but still to some extent, I would have thought it would have went up a little bit. It didn't, and down it went throughout the day on Friday. So here, as we are close to this area of support, and we start the day with this slight advance to the upside here. And there's a void up above. So the wide range bar on Friday, and we always say wide range bars are momentum move in a smaller time frame. And that's what you see on the hourly chart. And there's a void here. So if prices should be able to clear, right, this area right here, right, which they got rejected from a little while ago, we could get some upside move, possibly. Well, possibly. Let's just call it up to this area of minor resistance. It's just a mess as I'm looking at it, trying to figure out which way things are going to go here. But anyway, back to some of our factory work where we see a red bar like this, and just to be objective, we're saying, well, if this bearish bar is going to stay bearish, this should not close more than 50% into it. So we'll see if that happens. In reality, it won't even retrace 50% into it, but it might. Now, the downside, I just might take a stab at it and on the open here, since this is creating some resistance here. But, the pre-market low is going to come into play, and it's not that far away. So I'm not so anxious to take the short side here, even though Friday was a bearish day, because it brings me back to the theme of where I started. We've got a mess in multiple time frames. And as you can see on the 5-minute chart, this sloppy uptrend that's going on, and it spiked up and it came back down, which is this green bar ignored over here, the deep retracement. And you got all these little pivot lows. So I'm kind of inclined to just shut the computer down and leave. I'm kidding. But this is not a situation for trading the markets right now, which is attractive. And the weekly charts is just this correction that's going on after the reversal over here. It just continues, but it hasn't really broken severely to the downside. Maybe we'll see that this week. We do have the holiday coming up. Typically, that isn't a bearish time, or, just before a holiday. So might be in for a lot more chop. Let's continue. So the leader, the technology, the cues, you see what happened here. Traders say holiday, there's nowhere to go. Are your beaches open? They are now closing them for the holiday, Robert. They were open with restrictions, so I'm not sure. They're still not allowing. I went out on the boat yesterday. There's like this giant sandbar by us where a lot of boats congregate. And it's amazing that they have the police there. They will not allow you to go on the sandbar because you'll be too close to people. I don't know how close you can get, on a boat next to another boat unless you're tied up, but it's just crazy. And I just cannot wait for this to be over when they do, because I've never seen a police presence when there's been 200, 300, 500 boats out there making sure things don't get out of hand. But to make sure you don't go on this sandbar, police everywhere. Crazy, absolutely craziness. All right, so back to the markets. As I explained yesterday, last week, this slowing momentum concept where the momentum increased here, and that was a bit of a warning sign at the time, and we got the sell signal on the internals, and then the leader recovered immediately. Right? And so here you see that the highs are close together. Here the momentum increased. Prices were going up steadily, and then you have, it's not climactic, but the momentum increased, and that was a warning sign of itself that things were getting a little too excited for buyers. Down move, they bought again, and the distance between the highs tell us that momentum is decreasing. And again, Friday was the sell day after the bottoming tail didn't follow through to the upside. And that broke down under that swing low right there, that pivot low, which now violated the uptrend, meaning it's no longer making higher highs and higher lows because it broke through that prior swing low. And so now, where's it going to go? We're dealing with the same mess over here and the same reversal. We've got a topping tail now on the weekly time frame with some significant support here. So below that level, it's going to open up the door to a much bigger correction, but that I think is unlikely to happen in the short term. Right now, we've got this void right here. So we can get below this pre-market low. And this is already breaking Friday's low. Maybe we can get some kind of significant move to the downside. And again, we have to get through this area down here. Let's clear this up. And let's take a look at the spiders here. We can look at SPX. So obviously the same story. The green bar Thursday ignored, the down day on Friday, and support is right here. 301.30 is where it's at. So it's up a little bit. Pre-market, right, down here at around 300, just below. So we've got this significant support level right here. And below that opens up the door to the unfilled gap. And part of the reason here why we look at the SPX or SPY as well as the futures, you get different pictures. The futures are trading overnight where this gap. So we want to know where the unfilled gaps are as reference points. And you can see this happened quite a while ago, which proves the point that gaps do not have to get filled right away. And when they don't, let's point out, this is reference points for the future. We always want to point that out to educate. When you get a gap up like that and a consolidation at that resistance, that is super bullish. And just, to create or build new support, reference point there and then continue higher is bullish. SPY daily, lower high, no longer in sideways. Well, it did make a lower high. So what Tony's asking, what about the trend here now? Well, it hasn't violated major support, which is way down here. But now it's got a lower high, and many times, right, it's a little bit more of an advanced concept, but a lower high, lower low, still above major support will create a buy setup on the higher time frame. In this case, the weekly. We'll see if that occurs. This isn't the ideal scenario, Tony, for this kind of a pattern. When I find one, I'll show you since you're here in the room here. But this isn't. What this actually appears to be, based on last week's red bar and the green bar ignored, is potentially what should play out as a measured move to the downside here, pushing it down into this area. So right now, as I said this morning, we're dealing with this mess, and we'll see how it begins to unfold here. We're at the beginning of the week. That's all we can do. When we don't have multiple time frame alignment, whereas now we have a misalignment. This weekly trend is still up. This really hasn't broken yet. We had the sell day Friday. We're at support. Take it slow early on here, and we'll see how things unfold. As far as SPX goes today, zero time to expiration spreads, I would really be interested on the put side if this was gapping down, maybe a significant gap down, and then it rallied back up. So the call side, we'll see if this goes up at the open, but the call side should be a no-brainer. Let's say, somewhere above here. Let's see, SPX 3 days ago. Yeah, up here. This might be a little bit too close for comfort, but what is that? 3087. I think that could be okay. 3180 up in here. This is unlikely to get back up above here. It really shouldn't, because if this was to get way back up here, it's just a different kind of mess, tell you the truth, but that would be bullish. No premium there, Dave says. Makes sense that there's no premium. So maybe we're not going to have a play today in SPX. We'll see how it unfolds. So maybe at 10 o'clock, we'll have more information as far as some kind of a reversal. We'll just have to see. And Qs we looked at, YM is actually up here a bit. But again, up 100 points, big deal. It's retracing into, Friday's big down par. No significant retracement into that. You can see the hourly here moving up to that level. There's nothing to the left, so which makes it not the greatest setup to try and short this, just because this is in a downtrend. What I'd want to see here is some kind of a retest, possibly some sideways price action. This brings me back to my original thought going into today. The mess, uptrend here on the 15, coming back in. Individual stocks will probably be a better place to look for trade setups than the broader markets until things clear up a bit. The Russell is up here. Same story, a little bit of a deeper retracement, but it didn't break down under Thursday's low either, so showed a little bit of relative strength. Bonds are down a bit, but they're trending up, which this is somewhat bearish too. We'll see if it follows through, but the interest rate ETF TBT broke down under these lows. So here's this whole coronavirus thing and the economy possibly slowing down again, playing into thoughts and uncertainty. So interest rates longer term interest rates beginning to fall. It's not what we want to see in a situation where the hopes was this whole corona thing is in our past, business is opening, whereas now, are they going to try and shut down businesses again, which I think the market tanks on that scenario, but we'll see. But initially, this is not a positive sign to see interest rates beginning to fall. And we'll get to gold and so on, which looks great. But transports didn't break down through Thursday's low. So a little gleam of something positive to go on there. But if this starts to break under these lows, there's going to be very little to stop it from going down. So if we see the transports beginning to break, that's going to lean my bias anyway toward seeing the markets continue to go down and, shorting S&Ps, YM, whatever. That looks like it's got the greatest potential to move into a void below. Oil just consolidating. You can see the same slowing momentum. Strong. The highs are closer together. So those of you that are still have indicators down on the bottom of your chart and trying to read bearish divergences, all you need to do is look at the highs. If they're getting closer together, the momentum is slowing. Overbought and oversold, meaningless. Right? Is there a void? If there is, odds are it's going to keep going until momentum slows and you get a break in the trend. Gold looks higher. What do I think of a 29.50 put spread? I'll come back to it. Gold looks great. This consolidation, this red bar ignored. It's got a void to continue to move up. Again, 1800 is a little bit of resistance, but it should get through that based on this length of this consolidation and I think move up toward 2000. Silver has been lagging, but look at the breakdown. Recovered right away. Red bar ignored. So it's another mess of a different kind, but some bullish price actions, which this could definitely play catch up. And in addition, by the way, dollar's going a little lower and euro hasn't broken out of this sideways consolidation, but that might be coming. Looking at the weekly, just been chopping around at resistance. And SPX 29.50 could be okay based on this swing low down here. So let me just go back and look at the futures for a second here. Definitely going to be buyers here, and let's go back just to see if I think that was no, which would put it down here. I think that'd be okay, McGraw. That lines up properly with the futures. So, and the reason being, if this starts to break and came down here, let's say it comes under where the pre-market lows here, and my bias would be to be shorting down to this level where I would want to cover. So I think that would be safe as a reference point down there. Yes, Rohit and MT Live. I should have posted that for you guys. But you should have. You're on the email list, so you should have got it. It went out this morning. Hold on a second. I'll give it to you. The link. There you go. So that's basically it. From my perspective, waiting a little while here at the open to see if things clear up. Market's still in a correction mode. I think moving down here would be where at least some buying would show up in internals. We've got breadth at a bullish extreme, so reason for some stabilization, but sentiment not even close. So maybe we get some stabilization before the holiday, and then more of a correction. So we'll see. All yours, Dan.
All right, thanks. Good morning. Let's take a look at opens real quick. Weekly, we only have 4 open positions. We got a call spread here for Thursday. I got to start saying Thursday now, not Friday. Google call spread, nailed that on Friday. Looks great. MS, we sold a put spread on Thursday's bullish reversal. Actually, I like the gap up here today, so it held. And Nike, we have a call spread. That was earnings on Friday. Bearish gap under that bar. Swing ladder, AON, same when we got the the banking reversal on Thursday. Sold a put spread. BBY covered call. That's showing relative strength there on the daily and the weekly. Cato short, CME short, CSX short, ETFC. That was another bullish reversal financial, and we only have half lots on this. Facebook, beautiful. And I was saying, you know, it's just textbook. It was a bear 1, 2, 3 breakout failure. Look at, I was saying Friday that if you were in this core long or whatever, you should be taking profits, in my opinion. I now wish I did a directional on this because of the big potential target on the weekly. Maybe this comes to the 200. I don't know. But there's, you know, more boycotting going on of their advertising. I think Coke joined the list. Starbucks joined the list. FASB, we got a call spread. That looks fantastic. I even said Friday that looked like a 1, 2, 3 continuation short. GDX put spread looks great for a directional. H Hotel, we have a call spread. I mean, we have a bear put debit spread. Here, short naked put. LHCG was relative strength Friday, long stock. Nikola, we have a little put spread. Bullish gap up to resistance, but no pattern. We already covered half in our stop. Back half is under all that support. Finally, Pfizer, we're in trail mode. All right, let's continue. Look at this, commodities, DBA just looks horrible. That's, you know, when Greg mentioned the transports, like showing, that's a bad sign for the economy. Blink up 3, it's a big gap. Wow, this would have been a great entry right here. This on 619, this little gap over these 4 bars, that's a bullish 1, 2, 3. But nothing to do with it now. LCA, I don't, there's no volume here. Gapping up huge, no interest. The Nikola we mentioned. I don't like the way this trades. It looks like a Corona stock or health biotech of some sort. Vertex, similar. Yeah, Workhorse is on my list here somewhere. This, you know, that was a beautiful move last week. So I would never swing this, but if you get a bullish setup, it's actually a bullish gap, little bull flag over pre-market high. Looks like a day trade long. NVAX, this was a beautiful 1, 2, 3 right here, and this big old bull flag right there. Yeah, you know, it's left the station. Here's Workhorse. This is one I have on my eye, on my list to sell an out of the money call spread when it trades under a prior bars low. It will reverse. It's just a matter of when. Could it double from here? Sure. Who the heck knows? But it will come back to earth someday. GPS was a gapper we were watching on Friday. Big mess. ICPT down 30 bucks, 48. Yeah, wow, that's a big gap all the way down here to this prior low. But that's bearish, bearish pre-market consolidation. Yep, that's why we stay away from the bios Facebook we talked about. Oh, for you all, I moved the stop. Let me give it here. Move the stop 5-minute high for half. And also Google. I don't like the way that trades, but that's rocking pre-market. Sanjay has a new toy for us, OPESW. Yeah, it's believe it or not, this is a very bullish bar on Thursday. Down here, it was an ugly red bar, bottoming tail, engulfing. Inside, 1, 2, 3, bullish pre-market. It looks higher for a day trade. Boeing's in the news. They're going to start their certification on the 737 MAX, 181. I mean, we'll see. We'll see how it ends. It could be a put spread candidate. So I guess the market's just pricing in, hey, it's a good sign that at least they're at a certification stage. But what do you think is going to happen whether it's during the flight or after? Because, you know, obviously they have a lot of data mining to do. And then, you know, they still got to get it certified. But what do you think is going to happen to that stock if bad news comes out of that certification? William, if you can put your drop down, all panelists and attendees. Yeah, Facebook, we're already in a call spread. So, you know, nothing to do as a new trade. Shill, it's left the station. Twilio is on our bullish list. I was going to give this in the weekly letter as a put spread, you know, despite our you know, slight bearish bias for two reasons. One is it's a bullish chart, so it's doing its own thing. Number two is, as Greg said, maybe we get, you know, stabilization or a little bounce. The diamonds were up actually 300 at one point pre-market. So that, but then when you look at it on the daily chart, it wasn't so big. But anyway, the spreads were too crazy on Twilio, at least when I was looking at. Yeah, Ed, and your drop down also. Yeah, on all, no, it's not even on week. Yeah, it's weekend trades. Yeah, I mean, we don't trade in the first 5 minutes. So we wait 5 minutes and then take the trigger, right? V-cell, can't tell what you're doing. This is on my short watch list. Now I know it's down 4 red bars, but you know, the 2 narrow bars were kind of stabilization days. And this is it's a bearish head and shoulders. Here's your head, left shoulder, right shoulder. This was bearish consolidation. After this waterfall, it couldn't bounce. So that, as a day trade, I like that short under Friday's low. This looks like a continuation short, SRE. This was a bear 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wide range from consolidation. And bearish inside bars. So that was a great entry on Friday under Thursday's low. Splunk, another one kind of like Twilio. Look at that thing. Wow, and it all started. This is not, well, I guess it is a double bottom if you start from here, coming all the way down, and there's your retest. But it's a bullish gap from a bullish retest. That is on its own page. SFL, continuation short. Under Friday's low, you can short that. NBIX, it's on its own page too. Look at this, bullish consolidation. To all-time highs. It's amazing. There's some strong things out there. Lulu, I like under Friday's low, both as a call spread and directional. That meets both. Just a breakdown with a price point with a bearish weekly. That looks fantastic. See Boeing coming in here. That looks so good. Now, you know what, Ed, back to your point, waiting 5 minutes. This looks so good that you can take it. This one, I'm making an exception, that you don't have to wait 5 minutes. All right, so I'm actually gonna text that right now.